What is up, my achievement campers? Mayhem Bliz. We're playing Kona for the 41000G. It's on Xbox Game Pass, so if you got that chappy, pick this up. You can get the 41000G in around 3 hours with my guide, and to obtain all the achievements in a single playthrough, we need to make sure we're doing a few things. We don't want to fire a single shot from any weapon or flare gun. We won't be using any vehicles in the game past a specific point, and we're not going to be drinking any alcohol or smoke any cigarettes. And doing all of that will bag us 290 gamer score, including completing the game. So hit play and select any save slot, and you'll start in a car which is driven automatically for us for a short period. Do not worry, this will not void the achievement for not using vehicles. So we have a few collectibles in the game to collect to get all the achievements. We need to find 6 crossbow bolts, find every house and cabin for a total of 16, 48 documents, 10 treasure maps, 16 pieces of evidence, 19 campfires, and 3 chessboards. But don't worry, it sounds more annoying than it actually is. And at these train tracks is where we'll need to take over driving. You're going to hold the right trigger and follow the road until you get to the end. One other thing I want to mention is how to save your game. You will get a save point after a significant event in the story, or when you warm yourself up at a campfire. However, we have a limited amount of resources to light fires, so I would recommend only lighting the fires you see me do unless completely necessary. Your warmth meter is located in the top left, and you can view it whenever you pause the game. And the meter will not deplete when your game is paused. So if you're looking for a particular collectible, pause your game to not waste any of your warmth.
When the roads were bad, muddy, or snowed in, it was customary around these parts to close them off.
Once you've reached the bridge and got out of your vehicle, do a 180 and interact with the bin in front of you and pick up the empty bottle inside. And then we're going to head up the tower. And we're going to collect the pincer and the fire starters from within this chest. And then you're going to head back down the tower, and we're going to grab our first miscellaneous achievement. I'm going to head to the bridge, and we're going to use the pincer on the lock to break it.
Hamilton never mentioned a road blocking barrier. Why was it needed here in the back of Beyond? That would, however, be
and then head to the booth to your left, and we're going to interact with the rock, and that will leave a $10 bill, and you'll get the Sorry A achievement for 10 Gs. I will say these achievements were occasionally a bit slow to pop, so just be patient. There was one occurrence where I had to reload a checkpoint to force the achievement to pop, but I will highlight that when we get to it. And don't let that put you off, I was able to get 1000G on both accounts, no problem. We're then good to head back to the car and cross the bridge and follow the road. After the prologue and opening cutscene of the car crash you're involved in, head left to the other crashed car. And you're going to open the boot and pick up the medikit inside.
It was still best to check it out and leave.
Open the door, and we're going to pick up the box. And then interact with the glove box and pick up your first document out of 48.
Carl thought about taking it. Nothing was to be left to chance.
And then past your car, we're going to take a right at the fork.
An abandoned garage or a farm by the roadside. His life depended on it.
And here is our first cabin out of 16. Pick up a log and make sure to head inside to be sure you've discovered that cabin or house.
Already Carl did not feel his toes anymore.
We're going to pick everything off of the table, including the matches, the fire starter, and the chains we need for our car. And then we can use the fire starter, matches, and the log to start a fire in the stove. And that will count as a save point. We need to make sure our warmth level doesn't fully deplete, and standing by a heat source will charge it. So while we're warming up, we're going to use a medikit to get full health. And we're also going to discard all of our cigarettes to avoid smoking them, and it will create some extra space. So go back to your car and fix the chains to the wheels. and then head back in the car, reverse, and then we're going to drive and follow the road till you get to the general store. The general store is our second cabin or house, and arriving here will also net you the rendezvous achievement for 10 Gs. Now you want to head inside the general store. And then we're going to interact with the body on the floor to take a picture of it. And this is going to count as evidence 1 and picture 1. When you are taking pictures, make sure it doesn't say discard in the bottom right hand corner, and it only says keep picture, and that's how you know you took the picture correctly. Which will also get you the photographer achievement for 10 Gs. And then we're going to interact with the body again to cover it. And then we're going to interact with the document behind the body, and that will count as evidence number 2 and also document 2. And then head to the back of the store and you can find this note. This will tell you how to get into the cash register, and it will also be document number 3. Head to the left hand side and you can find these 3 fire starters on the table. And then we're going to head to the cash register, turn on our torch with left on the D-pad, and in the 3rd drawer you can find some duct tape. The 4th drawer you'll find document number 4. And the 5th drawer a key to the garage. And then at the end of the table to the right of the cash register you can find and collect document number 5. Which is also evidence number 3. And then you're going to open the cash register by hitting any 2 keys, and then hitting sale, and then that will open it up, and we're going to pick up the mailbox key inside. And then we're going to turn around, we're going to interact to move this ladder, and we can pick up the medikit. Now head back over to that ladder, we're going to climb it, and on the top shelf here we can pick up some sherry. And then head to the back of the store again. And then we're going to interact with this switch twice to route the power from the generator. And then inside this panel, interact with the top switch once to stop power to the general store. And then head out, and directly in front of us in this bin we can find document number 6, which also counts as evidence 4.
Always stay away from populated areas. Wait.
And then do a 180 and head towards this ice. And then what we want to do is take a picture of it. And again, make sure it says keep picture in the bottom right. And that will be picture number 2. And just a note, we can sprint by pushing the left stick in. And then we're going to go past this outside stove to the left and inside the garage. Now we have that key. And to the left, in the 2nd drawer we can find some hardware, and in the 3rd drawer you can find some pliers. Once you've got that, we're going to head back out and back to the general store. Then just next to this door is the generator, so interact with it because we need to fix it, and turn it on, and then we can head back to the garage as we've already routed the power to the garage. So inside here, above the car we can turn this light on, and just at the back of the light we can activate this lift, and under the car we can pick up this crowbar. And we'll need this crowbar to obtain some collectibles. So now head back outside, and next to the stove you want to pick up 4 logs. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then back through the general store. We're going to head out the front. to the right, we want to now use our mailbox key on the bottom of this mailbox, and then pick up the gun for evidence piece number 5, and then pick up this mini key for evidence number 6, which will open our lockbox to find document number 7.
Shame he got unlucky. Everything made sense now. Poor Hamilton's denunciation.
And then once you've got those, look to the right, and we're going to head in this direction,
lock everything up and send the key to his
past these bushes,
who would receive
through the broken fence, and we're going to follow some ice piles. So past that first ice pile there,
still ordinary people playing spy.
keep heading straight,
Nobody kills a rich patient to start
past
a
this
revolution.
second ice pile, and you can see this frozen man. Before you fully approach him, we're going to snap a photo of him. Obviously make sure it says keep picture in the bottom right hand corner. If it doesn't, you need to get a little bit closer and snap a photo.
Had seen a share of husbands
And that'll be
cut
picture number 3. Once you've got that, walk up to him to be put into our first vision.
Carl wondered what the hell could that thing be.
There is an achievement for every vision that we do, and this is the first one. So we're going to follow these footsteps to the campfire.
Carl felt like he was pulled inside a world of dreams.
And this is our first campfire of 19. And behind it is a journal. Pick that up for document number 8. And then continue following the footsteps. And then interact with this rock. And that will reveal a necklace. Interact with that. And that is actually document number 9.
Engraved numbers mean.
And then continue following the footsteps.
Before Carl.
And that will lead you to this truck. Open the door, and we're going to interact with this wallet, which is document number 10. And you'll get the last stand achievement for 20 Gs for the first vision.
What happened? Now at least he knew who the unfortunate man petrified in ice was. Gilles Lachance, the general store.
After that, bring up your map with the right on the D-pad, and make sure you have this campfire showing on your map. You should have got that in the vision. If not, quickly make your way there to discover that campfire. Next, we're going to make our way to Lachance's house, but we need to head to the entrance to his house to locate his mailbox and the collectible inside. So head to this location, and you'll find this mailbox. Inside the mailbox is document number 11. Now head down his path and to the left. Up the first stairs you can find our first crossbow bolt in the pillar to the right. Snap a picture of it, make sure it says keep picture in the bottom right, and you know you're good. And that picture of the crossbow bolt will also count as picture number 4. And then head up to the house, and this will be house or cabin number 3. Before going in, we're going to head around the back. And we can find this magnet located on this piece of metal, so pick that up. And we'll need that to obtain some collectibles. So head back to the front of the house. And head inside.
The air was freezing.
And to the left, we can start a fire for a save point and warm ourselves up. To the left of the stove, in this cabinet below, we can find a fire starter, so collect that. And then turn around. And inside the fridge, to the left, we can find a steak. We need to hold on to the steak till the very end of the game. And then go through the door, and then on the rocking chair is document number 12.
The general store, along
And then we
with
can
several
head
more
back out, and we're going to snap a picture of frozen Lachance. So down on the D-pad to get your camera out and take a picture. Make sure it says keep picture in the bottom right, and that will be picture number 5. And then we can head towards him to activate vision number 2.
The woman's hopes and dreams were frozen in eternity.
So for this one, we're going to head back through that door.
Something was hidden under the stairs.
And then head up the stairs.
The man grabbed his rifle. Carl felt a sense of...
And then we're good to head back down. Follow the footsteps.
Perhaps their spousal relationship had been cooling down lately.
And then into this room that we haven't been into yet.
It seemed like secrecy was commonplace in this house.
And then interact with the hidden spot to pick up the diary. And that'll be a document 13.
Was lifted, and he was back to reality.
And you'll get the Frosty Relationship achievement for 20 Gs for completing that vision.
Spouse was motionless, frozen in ice.
And then we're going to head back to the safe that we saw in the vision. And we're going to open it, and we need to enter a specific code. Turn the dial to B, and then 7, 3, 9. So that's B739. That will unlock the safe, and you can pick up document number 14, which is also evidence number 7. We are now done with LeChance's house. Warm up at the stove if you need to, and then we're going to make our way to Bedard's house. Once again, we're going to head to the entrance first to locate the mailbox and get the collectibles inside. In this mailbox, we will find our first of 10 treasure maps, and also find document number 15. So down the path towards Bedard's house, we're going to start in the garage. And in the last drawer of this workbench, you can find a key and some matches. And you want to leave the bottle and the cigarettes.
Always strives to keep lowly temptations at bay.
Then hanging above the workbench is a hammer, be sure to pick that up. And in the first drawer is some hardware. You're then going to do a 180 and pick up this empty gas can on the floor, which we'll need later. And then we can head out. Bedard's house will be house or cabin number 4. You're going to interact with the doormat to locate the house key.
What was even the point of locking your door?
Inside, to the right, you can turn the light on. And in the fridge, you can find another steak. In the cabinet to the left are some matches. And then to the left on the side, interact with the sewing kit to attach a wire to our magnet. And we can use this to get some collectibles. And the drawer to the left will have some fire starters. And then we want to head to the bedrooms. We'll start in the back left bedroom. In the drawer of the bedside table, you can find document number 16. And then head into the bedroom opposite, open the drawer of the dresser to find document number 17.
The Bedards had vacated the premises.
And we are now done with Bedard's house.
No help.
And I'm just checking my warmth meter here by pausing, but I'm going to decide to light the stove to get a save. Now in this area we have a few collectibles to get before continuing on with our story. You want to head to the bottom part of this lake to find a campfire, and then we will make our way back down to Roy's house. So that is campfire number 2, and you can find some matches and fire starters on the crate next to the tent, and we can now see that campfire on our map. And from that campfire we're going to follow the stream down. and you'll notice 2 standing trees which are crossed. At the base of those you will find a box. Inside is treasure map number 2. You'll also want to pick up the flare inside this box, as we'll need it for an achievement later on. And then continue following the stream down, and you'll eventually come to campfire number 3. And then from that campfire you're going to head to the right and above Bedard's house. Again, look out for those standing cross trees if you have trouble finding it. And at the base, in the box, is treasure map number 3. This box also contains some Polaroids for your camera. I don't think these are needed, but you may as well pick them up just to be safe. And you're going to follow this stream once more until you come across some more cross trees. And inside this box is treasure map number 4. Next, we are going to go to a spot for a miscellaneous achievement. Apologies for that tree branch getting in the way of the map there. This spot is on the opposite side of the stream. You're going to follow this fence until you find the opening. And then you're going to hug it and follow it to the end. So at this spot will be some wolves. As soon as you spot them, you're going to pause your game, go into your equipment, equip a stake, and you're going to throw it at them for the Nature Lover achievement for 15 Gs. And that is getting rid of wolves without killing them. And now, please do not throw any more stakes until I say so at the end of the game. You'll want to save one. And at this spot you can pick up some fire starters and some hardware. Then we are going to head right under Bedard's house, this time to locate a campfire and our first talisman. So here is campfire number 4, which we will start a fire as our warmth is rather low, and pick up a log to replace the one we just lit. And I'm just going to stand here for a moment until my warmth meter is full. Now head to these pile of rocks under the crossed trees, and we can lift the center black rock with our crowbar. And underneath it is our first talisman collectible. You can crouch with the left bumper if you need help reaching it, and if you end up stuck in the hole you can press the right bumper to jump your way out. Next, we're going to head left and we're going to follow the wall down until we find some more cross trees. And inside this box is treasure map number 5. And you'll also want to pick up the fire starters inside. And then we're going to keep following that wall down until we find another campfire. And this is campfire number 5. From this campfire you want to slightly turn left, and we are going to equip our hammer or crowbar, and what we want to do is take out one of the wolves. So we don't want to use a stake here as we need that for an achievement, so attack one of the wolves and kill them, and the other one will run away.
Never thought he would be dancing with
And then we're good to go to this hole that they were defending, and inside is talisman number 2. And then from here, just continue on going straight and you'll get to Roy's house. And entering Roy's house will be house or cabin number 5. approach the front of the house and we're going to interact with a note on the door. I don't believe this is a collectible, but it does get added to your journal, so you may as well pick it up just in case. And then head inside, and to the left on the wall we can flick this light switch on, and on the table we can find our first chessboard of 3. And then wrap around and we can interact with the document on the other side. This is document 18. And then head to the cabinet over to the right hand side and we can find some matches in the left cabinet. And then down the hallway to the left, on the desk we can find document 19. To the left inside the same room on top of the TV, we can find document 20. And then we're going to go into the bedroom opposite. On the bedside table is document 21. And that is everything in Roy's house. There is a stove in here if you have some extra materials, but for me I'm above half on the warmth meter, so I decided not to. And from Roy's house we're going to head down and slightly to the right, and we're going to pick up the flare gun. Collecting all of the treasure maps does lead you to this flare gun, but we are able to collect it at any point in the game, so it's best to collect it now so we don't have to backtrack.
If he was to venture deep into the woods, carrying a flare gun definitely wouldn't hurt, Carl assumed. At best, he could probably scare some beasts.
And then across the road we can find another campfire.
A nice little firework.
It's pretty much exactly where we are standing. Here we are, and this is campfire number 6. And by the sun lounger you can find some matches. And just checking my warmth meter here as we have a bit of travelling to do, so I'm going to start this fire. So stay here until our warmth meter is full. And then what we want to do is head to the entrance of Roy's house to go into the mailbox to find another document. So inside is document number 22. And then once you've got that, you want to run all the way back to the general store. And the next collectible is just before we cross over the stream at the end. I believe the stream on the map is a little off. You'll see my positioning when we collect it. And you'll find these cross trees. Inside the box you'll find treasure map number 6 and some fire starters. And again, I show you on the map here, it looks like we are across the stream, but we are actually not. So after collecting that, we're going to cross over the stream. And turn right. And we're going to find our next talisman, and this one is just located above the O and the R of the store writing on the map. So here find these arrangement of rocks, and we're going to use our crowbar to lift the rock in the middle. And you'll find talisman number 3. And you'll also get the jeweler achievement for 20 Gs for collecting 3 talismans, but you won't see mine pop up on screen as I did it in a slightly different order. And from these circular pillars you want to look to the left, and you may be able to see the cross trees in the distance. But make your way in this direction. Again, I'll show you on the map when we're hovering over the box. We are located here. And inside this box is treasure map number 7. We are then going to locate our next campfire. This one is located over to the right hand side, and you'll notice some wolves are guarding this campfire, so you'll want to get out your crowbar or your hammer and then kill one of the wolves, and the other one will run away.
Carl never thought he would be dancing with the wolves.
And this is campfire number 7. We're then going to head back over to the left hand side, just left of that shed looking icon. And you can also find some matches in the pan above it. We're then going to be travelling behind the shed looking icon to find another talisman, and beware, there'll be another wolf there that we need to take care of.
Carl never thought he would be dancing with the wolves.
And this is talisman number 4. We're now done with this area for the time being, and we're going to make our way over the bridge and to the doctor. And just opposite the entrance, we can see this doctor sign, and we want to find an opening in the fence to the right. And then behind this sign, we can find another hole. Inside the hole is talisman number 5. Then head through the fence, and then use the entrance to get to the doctor clinic. And this will be our 6th house or cabin. And you can ignore my achievement here, you would have already got your jeweler achievement. And this is where we are on the map. Before heading inside, if you go around the back of the house, you can interact with this bin and find some duct tape. And then to the left, inside this portaloo, you can find this lantern, which we'll need in a moment for an achievement. Now we can head back to the front of the clinic. We're going to interact with the mailbox, and inside the mailbox we can get the clinic's key. And I'm going to pick up a log here and some fire starters to the left. And you want to interact with the document on the door, and that'll be document number 23. So head inside, and then you're going to pause, go into equipment and equip your lantern. And then just walk around for a while until the Cozy Ambience achievement for 10 Gs pops. You're then good to turn on this lantern here and turn on the stove. And then in this cabinet to the right of the stove is a fire starter. And then to the right of that, in this top drawer, you can find some matches. And then to the right, in this cupboard up the top, you can find a first aid kit. And then turn around and we can find another document on the bed. This is document 24.
A communist manifesto. Only a few years ago, this type.
Then to the right of that, you want to interact with these medical files and make sure again to flick through all of the pages, as we need to get to the last page. And this will be a document 25 as well as evidence number 8. And then we're going to interact with the pictures to the right for evidence number 9.
The good doctor, flanked by his beautiful spouse. Pure happiness, captured on cardstock.
And then we're going to take a picture of the bloodstain on this bed for picture number 6 and evidence number 10.
At the village border.
And then we are done with the clinic. And again, just check your warmth meter is full before heading out. We are then going to make our way to the Patriot's house, which is marked on the map as Blowin'. And on the way, we are just going to stop off at the D here, where we can locate a fire starter. Once you reach the Patriot's house, that will be our 7th house or cabin located. And inside, in the wardrobe to the right, you can find document 26, which is also evidence 11.
Alcohol and boiled cauliflower filled the air. Back then,
on the bed you can pick up document 27, and then on the wall you can find a recipe, which is document number 28.
In Montreal, mailboxes were
And with this recipe and the empty bottle and sherry we picked up early on in the game, we can prepare this caribou drink, which we will need for an achievement.
in the Great Northernmost.
And just before we leave, there is a stove on the right hand side, but your warmth meter should be pretty much full.
Arise. That man, by any reckoning, was from that very stock. That pig had a name after him.
And we aren't quite done in this area yet. We're going to head to the back of the house, and in this bin we can find some matches. And behind you is a hatchet you can pick up, which kills wolves a little quicker, but to save space I didn't bother picking it up. Now from here we're going to head to old Rosaire's house. And Rosaire's house will be our 8th house or cabin. You're going to head inside and talk with the old Donnie.
Oh, mon bonhomme! Je m'attendais pas à ce qu'un étrange retentisse par ici. Moi te dire, je prends plus de chance depuis que ça rôde dans ce bout-là. J'ai ma carabine au bout du doigt, et puis bang, 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 si ça s'approche. Si tu veux du linge chaud, parce que t'es habillé comme un gars de la ville, je dirais pas non à une bonne bouteille de caribou. Puis tu pigeras ce que tu voudras parmi mes...
You'll then be able to trade the caribou drink for a coat. And you'll get the Winter is Coming achievement for 20 Gs.
Parce que je t'aime bien à cette heure, je vais te dire quelque chose. Tu fais bien de prendre ma pélice. Parce que par là-bas, tu vas rencontrer le vrai froid. Un froid qui glace comme t'en as jamais connu dans ta vie.
And then on the table to the left, you can find document 29.
Vois-tu le livre, là? C'est le Wendigo. Ouais, le Wendigo. Un guerrier qui devient un loup.
To the right in the drawer next to a cooler, you can find some matches. And then just before we leave, we can pick up Rosaire's keys to the right of the door. And then outside, we're going to unlock and head inside the tool shed opposite. Now, I don't believe this counts towards the house or cabins, but let's do it just to be safe. And there is nothing in here that we need. So from Rosaire's, we are going to hug the right-hand edge to locate our next campfire. And this is campfire number 9. We're then going to head down the road, and right on this point of the left wall, we will find another campfire. And this is campfire number 10. and then head across the road towards the lake to find our last talisman. You're going to pick that up and you'll get the talismanic achievement for 50 Gs. And again, you won't see mine pop as I collected them in a different order, but this is the order which is most efficient for you guys. And then you'll want to head to Lamoth's house. Before you enter, just right of the entrance, you can find his mailbox, and inside is document number 30. As well as a spark plug, which is one of 10 pieces we need to fix the snowmobile. You can now break the lock and head on through. Lamoth's will be our 9th cabin or house, and we're going to start by heading into the garage. Take a picture of frozen Lamoth for picture number 7, and then you're good to approach him to activate this
The poor
vision.
man, before being frozen solid, seemed to have been defending the entrance to his cabin. But from what?
You're going to head to the back of the garage. Then back to the front. After that, interact with the bucket above. And then we see Lamoth throw something into it. And then we can interact with the garage door to end the vision. And you'll get the Journey in the Hereafter achievement for 20 Gs.
Something very important must have been in there for the man to take such time and effort to hide it. But Carl didn't know how to read.
To the left, inside the garage, you can find document 31 on the fridge.
The week of October 5th, thought Carl.
Open the fridge and you can find some hardware at the bottom. And then to the back right of the garage, you can find document 32 on the floor.
The very first steps of man on the moon were made more than a year ago. The event had surely captivated the mechanic.
We're then good to head out. To the right, take a picture of the writing on this building for evidence 12. And then from here, we're going to head back left. And then inside the bin, you can find some duct tape. And then head around the back of the building, up the ramp to get on the roof, and we're going to use one hardware and the hammer to build a bridge to the roof of the garage. And then we're able to retrieve that note from the bucket, and this is document 33 and evidence 13.
Carl had no idea how to interpret a message like that. On the surface, it seemed like he had one.
We can now head inside the building.
Enough shouldn't take this testimony as gospel. The entire thing being some
And
punishment
back
for a
left, we're
murder
going to
committed
light the
by
stove to
Campbell.
warm up
Seemed
and
like
save
an
the game.
outlandish theory. Carl was doubtful.
And left of the stove on the table is document 34. And then directly behind you on the table behind us is document 35.
Conducive to extravagant follies.
And then from there, on the wall in front of you is document 36.
If some daring person could
And
manage
if
to
you need
get
it, there is
hands on
another
this
hammer on the chest of drawers to your
Carl was
left,
willing
but you
to
should
bet that
already
the
have
craft
one.
would have taken flight.
After that, we're going to keep heading down to locate another campfire and some more collectibles. So through the broken fence,
Carl still wasn't done with the mechanic's place.
and we'll need to get our crowbar or hammer out to take care of the wolf.
Carl never thought he would be dancing with the wolves.
And you'll eventually come to this empty grave. So we want to take a picture of it for picture number 8, and this will also count as
And the
evidence
shape of
number
the hole in the
14.
ground left no room for doubt. Someone had been buried here. Someone
And then a little on from that is campfire number 11.
Where was the body now? Why had it been buried, only to be dug up later? Carl felt as though he was shrouded in
And then we're going to
fog.
continue down the path, and we're going to use our crowbar to get through this barricade. And immediately to the right in this duffel bag is a fire starter. You're going to follow the path, and at the fork you're going to take a right. And this will lead us to the secret project, which is our 10th house or cabin. At the next fork, you're going to take a left.
That large
And then we're going to interact with this lever to make the satellite dish move. And then we're going to interact with the electrical box above it to send a message. And that will get you the SOS achievement for 10 Gs.
Control it, maybe behind it. Carl would have to figure out how to reach it.
And then head on, and on the right of this small shed is a valve. We can turn that and warm up at the radiator, but you should be pretty toasty already.
Carl rejoiced at the unexpected source of heat, but not as much as...
Now facing the gated entrance, we are going to interact with the first valve to the left twice. And then the second valve, interact with that 3 times. And the third valve, we're going to interact with that once. And then you should hear a noise of the gate unlocking once done. Head through the gate and pick up the snowmobile key on top of the generator, which will be our second piece we need to fix the snowmobile.
All that was left was to use it. At last.
We're then good to head back to Le Moths and collect the remaining snowmobile pieces. In the garage to the right on the shelving unit we can find the handlebars, which is our third part. On the spaceship we can take the headlight, which is part number 4. And then straight ahead of the garage in the trunk of the car is one of the skis for part 5. On the shelving unit left of the entrance door to the main building, you can find another ski for part 6. And to the right of the building inside the cooler is part 7. And between the buildings and slight right, we can fill up the empty gas can that we got earlier for part 8. And to the left of that, close to the snowmobile, is this track for part 9. And then we're going to head past the snowmobile and follow this fence line, and you can see this sun lounger to find the bench, which is our last part. Now please note here, do not drive the snowmobile, otherwise that will void your no vehicle achievement. We are only going to equip the parts that we need to the snowmobile for the achievement, but we're not going to drive it. So interact with the seat area to equip the bench and the track. Interact with the dash, we can equip the handlebars and the lights. Interact with the front of the snowmobile and we can equip the skis. And then the dash area once more to equip the spark plug, fuel and key. And again, do not hit drive. And you will get the mechanic achievement for 30 Gs. And then to the right in these bins, we're going to pick up a fire starter. And back in the garage, we can repair the spaceship for the astronaut achievement for 30 Gs. And if that doesn't pop straight away, you can interact with the spaceship once more. Now before we leave, we are going to pick up a couple of logs as well, but I'll show you where we are heading first. We will be heading up, just left of the campfire we found earlier. And again, so before leaving Lamoth's, just a little up from the right of the truck, we can pick up a couple of logs here. Or until your inventory is full, it's up to you. So here we are then, this is the ice cave. Head inside, and in the cave you're going to whack on your torch with the left on the D-pad.
It seemed to be more brutal here than anywhere else. It seeped into bones and into every breath to get to the heart.
And when you arrive at this fork, you're going to take the path to the left. It's a little difficult to see, but you want to head down this dark path.
Luckily,
and down here on the crate to the right is some hardware. And then further on in the duffel bag is another fire starter. And then out of there you must light this campfire, as there is a potential buggy achievement coming up, where if it doesn't pop we need to reload over checkpoint and we'll have to try again. So I'm just going to wait here until my warmth meter is full. So once you've lit that campfire, you're going to continue following the path. And here we're going to build the bridge with the hammer and hardware. And then you'll come to another frozen person. So same as before, we're going to take a picture of them before approaching them. And this will be picture number 9.
Another instance.
Then
of
approach
this
him
magic
to
ice.
activate the vision.
What was this one doing? Lying on the ground, so afraid. The plot thickened like water into ice.
You're going to follow the footsteps.
He had been running in fear from something creeping towards him, against which he couldn't do anything, only to end up like this, petrified and cold.
And then you're going to interact with this valve to progress the vision. And then just before interacting with this document on the table, wait for this man in the vision to disappear. And then once he's gone, we're going to interact with the document, and you don't want to press any buttons here until your vision achievement pops. I think perhaps I was too eager here in my first playthrough that it didn't pop, and I needed to reload my last save. But anyway, that was the Lost Cause achievement for 20 Gs for completing that vision. And that was also a document 37 and evidence 15.
Who could have gotten killed in front of his very eye?
Now on this table we can find some more hardware, and 3 pieces of dynamite, and a log to replace the one that we just used, and lastly some duct tape. Behind us is a stove, which we don't need to light as we just did the campfire earlier. And to the right of that is a rifle and some ammo, which we do need to pick up for the Revolution achievement for 10 Gs. And I actually got the achievement just for interacting with it, but my inventory is full. But we do actually need to pick up the rifle for after when we've completed the game. So we're going to go into our inventory and drop a few things. So you can go into equipment and drop the lantern here as we do not need that anymore. And then go into your inventory and drop all of your logs but one. And you can also drop the headlight as that was only needed for the snowmobile. And you probably only need about 4 of your fire starters. Once you've got the gun, we're going to interact with a plank of wood to create a path. Head down and do a 180 and then over the bridge.
Carl suddenly felt observed.
And then you'll need to get out your hammer or crowbar to kill the wolf. And again, remember, do not use your gun, otherwise that will void the achievement. And then at the end of the path, we need to use our dynamite on the blocked path and run away until we are at a safe distance. And after the explosion, head through and interact with this ladder at the end and use it to head down.
No stone can withstand the force of dynamite.
Now we have quite a bit of running to do here. We need to head all the way back to LaChance's house. So we're going to use that as a reference, but behind it, at the edge of the map, to find another cave. We can then use another piece of the dynamite on the cave, and after that explosion you will get the Kaboom achievement for 15 Gs. And you can head inside, and at the end of the cave are some fire starters. Again, we probably have way too many of those, and we don't need the bullets as we've got enough, and we can pick up the first aid kit. Out of there, we are going to head to Bliz's house, which is up from where we are. Bliz's house will be our 11th house or cabin. And we're going to start with the shack on the left. In the hole we can find the keys to the shack. In here are some more fire starters. Again, we probably have enough. And there are some flares on the workbench. I grabbed the fire starters but left the flares as we already should have one in our inventory. But you can also just pause your game and check if you don't have a flare or not. If not, you can just pick one up. And now it's time to head into Bliz's house. To the right as you enter, we're going to inspect the markings on the floor. And then you'll be able to move the unit and pick up document 38. In the first room, in the bottom cabinet, you can find another fire starter. And to the right of that on the floor, you can find document 39. Opposite here, left of the entrance, you want to pick up the keys on this unit, for which we'll need to enter a tool shed later on. And over to the kitchen, in the drawer under the sink, is document 40.
Better keep an eye open. Businesses weren't exactly numerous around these parts.
And then to the right, we're going to head up the stairs, and then left at the top of the stairs. In the unit to the left, you can find document 41. And then in the next room, on the right, in the top drawer of the dresser, you can find document 42. And you're then good to leave Bliz's house and head to this cabin here. Now weirdly enough, cabin A, cabin B and the tool shed count as a single cabin or house for our cabin achievement. This is our 12th cabin or house, but we do have to collect all three for it to count. So this is cabin A, and you know you've discovered it as it will be labelled cabin A on your map. Head inside and you can locate chessboard number 2.
Local lumberjacks used it to rest and twice a day eat up their pea soup.
Next we're going to be heading up from cabin A for another campfire and collectible. As you approach, be sure to take out a crowbar or your hammer to take care of one of the wolves.
Carl never thought he would be dancing with
Then you should be able to locate a tree with our second crossbow bolt in it. They're illuminated pretty well, so they should be pretty easy to see. You're going to take a picture of it, and that will also count as picture 10. And just on from that is campfire number 12. And before we leave, we can grab a few items, but first I'll show you where we're going to head to next. So in between this campfire and the shack on the map, you can find our next campfire. So yeah, before leaving, in the tent you can grab some matches and another fire starter on the boxes. And then this stove here is campfire 13. From here we're going to head to the shack, which is also the tool shed we got a key for earlier. And this is the tool shed, which counts as the same house or cabin. Inside we can cop some fire starters on the left. I mean, we have loads. And on the worktop on your right is document 43.
Something worth his time in here.
And next to that you can pick up the key to cabin B. And we're going to head up and to the right from the shack to find treasure map number 8. From there, we're going to head to cabin B. And as mentioned earlier, this one counts as the same house or cabin. And at the front, you'll notice a trailer with our third crossbow bolt in it, so be sure to take a picture of that. And that will also get you
Carl
picture
was
11.
increasingly convinced that this was not normal hunting. The game that was being tracked was fearsome, so much so that the hunter didn't dare approach it.
Make sure to head inside cabin B. We don't need anything in here, but we're just going to make sure we've discovered it for our achievement.
Without a single window to brighten things up, the inside of the cabin was almost pitch black. Beware of close encounters of knee and furniture.
And then head up from that cabin and you can locate treasure map number 9. From here, we're going to head above the previously discovered campfires, close to the top of the main road for another campfire. And this is campfire number 14. From here, on the opposite side of the road and up slightly, we can find another campfire. And this is campfire number 15. Then from there, on the actual road, following it down, you will find a crashed car. And you'll also want to head above the crashed car to discover the landslide. Make sure that label appears on the map as shown in the screenshot. For me, the label didn't appear in both of my playthroughs, but I was still able to get the cabin achievement, no problem. So I'm skeptical to know if this landmark actually counts towards the achievement. This crashed car has our 4th crossbow bolt, and take a picture of it for picture 12.
Now where the hell could the passengers possibly have gone? Right until that point, Carl had believed that
to the right of that, on the broken fence, you can find document 44.
Was terrorizing the village. But as he noticed the height at which the bolts had been fired, he concluded that the beast had to have been as tall as a man on his feet, not unlike a gorilla.
You're then going to follow this path all the way to the end to automatically trigger a vision, to which we can just stand still and you'll get the Fall of the Wall achievement for 20 Gs during that vision.
Carl knew why he was suddenly shivering. He was going back to the realm of visions. Carl had no issue recognizing the spirit-like figures, but he couldn't figure out what they wanted from him. The phantom, freed of reality's shackles, vanished in the forest. Earlier, Carl had witnessed a tragedy that befell it. Another phantom disappeared in the wilderness. Carl had seen what happened to it too. A third phantom gently faded away. Carl noticed that as the cursed villagers finally left reality, he could feel a sense of unburdening exuding from them in an almost intimate way. The last phantom, lost in solitude up until now, joined the others in the forest's darkness, free at last to enjoy an eternal, well-deserved slumber. Carl was only beginning to understand the horror which had struck his village. He understood that the dead were piling up and that he couldn't help them by himself.
And once it finishes, we can head up the right-hand path, and we'll find our final treasure map for the Treasure Hunter achievement for 50 Gs. then we're then going to follow the path top right to locate our next campfire. And this is campfire 16. At this campfire, on the rock next to it, you can find document 45. Now, in both of my playthroughs, I unlocked the reader achievement for 50 Gs for finding all of the documents at this point, and it looks like this is happening for everyone else too. However, I will show you where the last 3 documents are. Behind that rock is our 5th crossbow. Take a picture of it for picture 13 as well.
This hunt was never ending. Carl hoped that the hunter had finally triumphed over the beast.
Then we're going to continue following the path, and then to the right to find this observation tower. And this tower counts as our 14th house or cabin. Head inside the cabin next to the tower, and you'll find document 46 and 47 on the table.
Carl reckoned that the
And make sure to flick through all of the pages to get them both.
His detective sense tingled.
And then at the back of the cabin on the floor under this jacket is the last document.
That there were most likely 2 men. Pierre the poacher Bliz was definitely.
And there is also a stove located in this cabin.
Indeed.
My warmth meter is rather low, but I'm going to risk warming up at the next campfire.
Carl learned earlier that the man had recently been shredded to death by, allegedly, beasts. The jacket was still soaking wet. The poor man.
And the next campfire will be located at the top of this right-hand path. And this is campfire number 17. Again, make sure to start a fire to warm up. And once you are fully warmed up, we're going to locate our next cabin. This one is located across the stream and in between these 2 paths. This is the burnt cottage, and it counts as cabin or house 15. And again, like we did with the others, we're just going to make sure to head inside to make sure we've discovered it.
The door had been busted down.
And inside to the right in this cupboard is a first aid kit.
Half of the cabin had been consumed by flames. Carl surveyed the chaotic scene, noticing that someone appeared to have intended to use the furnace.
We're now going to locate our last cabin. This one is already marked on the map for us. We're going to head straight up and over another stream. And at this cabin, you'll find our last crossbow bolt. Take a picture of that, and that will count as picture number 14. And taking pictures of all the crossbow bolts will get you the hunt achievement for 40 Gs. And make sure to head inside our last cabin to be sure you discovered it. And that will net you the Carl the Explorer achievement for 20 Gs.
Seems like this place was long deserted.
And located inside is our 3rd and last chessboard. Interact with it to move the piece, and that will get you the Chess Master achievement for 25 Gs.
One more move for black to checkmate white.
We are now going to grab our last 2 campfires. The first is located where these 2 paths meet on the map, and that is our 18th campfire. And our last campfire is located just off the right-hand path at this curve. And discovering our last 19th campfire will net you the Marshmallows achievement for 30 Gs. And then from here we're going to follow that path up until we reach the sanctuary.
2 more victims of this ice plague. Carl felt a chill down his spine.
And you'll come across this frozen creature.
Carl,
And like we've done previously, we're going to take a picture of him before approaching. And again, make sure it says keep picture in the bottom right. That's when you know you've took the picture correctly. And that was our last 15th picture, which will net you the paparazzi achievement for 75 Gs. And before you approach him, we're going to make sure your health is in a pretty good state. I took a first aid kit here. And then you're good to approach him.
It was so cold. Already Carl did not feel his toes anymore.
And then you just want to get through and watch all of these visions.
It looked like a simple hunting accident. There was Hamilton. Carl recognized him. A major hunting accident. The doctor examined the young woman. But death couldn't be overturned. She was dead. It was not the type of body you buried in a big ceremony in the village graveyard. It had to be hidden. No one could know about this. The best way to do that was to have a simple-minded man bury the poor girl, Lamotte, the mechanic. The doctor denied the unfair death of the young woman, but Hamilton had him in his grips. Hamilton knew all of the poet's secrets and wouldn't hesitate to reveal them. I know all about your crimes, you little communist. You know mine. What a sordid affair.
And when you end up here, you're going to approach the arrow in the tree and interact with it to remove it. And that will be our last piece of evidence we need for Carl Verbert Private Investigator achievement for 20 Gs. And then you'll also get the murder achievement for 20 Gs for reaching this part in the game.
The one responsible had already been killed, and so the beast could not quench its thirst for vengeance. And now, recklessly, Carl had pulled the bolt from the beast's heart. A beast who was but a young free man lost without his fiancée, and who had, out of hatred, become Wendigo.
Now here you want to immediately pause, go into your equipment and select the stake that we were holding onto, and then you're going to throw and hit the Wendigo with the stake. If you've done that correctly, that will net you the vegan achievement for 15 Gs. Once you've done that, turn around and just follow the path ahead. The ice will kind of lead you to where you need to go, and you'll just want to keep spamming that sprint button. We're not going to bother killing the wolves, just run around them to save some time. if you do get hurt by the wolves, you can just pause and pop a first aid kit. You'll eventually come to the cemetery, to which you'll want to take the path to the right. And then here there will be an opening just before one of the frozen guys. We're going to head through there.
The narrow passage sheltered him.
And then you're going to continue following the path until you reach some train tracks. And once you've reached those, you're going to follow those tracks to the left. We can then go through this gate, take a right. And then we'll have this short cinematic of the Wendigo again, to which we want to immediately hang to the left, and we're going to interact with the boat to board it. And that will complete the game. Now don't head off just yet, as we need to cop 2 more remaining achievements after completing the game. But completing the game will net us the onwards on foot for 75 Gs for not using any vehicle past the general store. Pink lungs for 20 Gs for not smoking.
So did purity. I would defend purity against the winds, the tides, against ice.
Firearms registry for 100 Gs for not firing any gun.
Could it be that all this was but a story of
Prohibition for 20 Gs for not drinking any alcohol.
Avenging his fiance's unjust death by avenging this.
And another 75 Gs for completing the game.
Are these passionate feelings not precisely the kind of feelings that could cause a storm, petrify people deep inside, create monsters?
So now after the end credits and you're back at the main menu, you're going to hit play and load your last save. And it will have auto-saved you at the cemetery. We're going to pause, go into options and load up the autosave at the sanctuary. And this will put us in the fight with the Wendigo, to which we want to pause, go into our equipment, select the flare gun, and we're going to shoot that into the sky. And that will net you the A Star in the Night achievement for 10 Gs. And lastly, pause, go into your equipment, select the rifle, and shoot Mr. Wendigo for the bulletproof achievement for 15 Gs, and our last achievement for 1000 Gs. And thanks so much for watching, guys. If this guide helped you out and you want to help me out, a sub, like, and comment would really be appreciated. I'm trying to hit 3k subs by the end of the year, so that would be really awesome, and I'll keep dropping videos like this. Take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.